tonight. History about to be made. A woman versus a business tycoon.
And I can't believe we just put the biggest crack in that glass ceiling yet.
I built an unbelievable company. Some of the greatest assets anywhere in the world.
Taxes, terror, race, religion. Building walls.
We will build a great wall along the southern border. And Mexico will pay.
Tearing down trust.
That was a mistake, and I take responsibility for using a personal email account.
Sex, lies, and audio tape.
You can do anything.
Whatever you want.
You haven't done it.
You name it, voters have heard it. Now, it comes down to tonight. America has voiced its choice. Robin Simmons, live in New York at Clinton headquarters. Jeff Lennox, live in New York at Trump headquarters. Patrick Frazier, live in the election center, turning around results. And the 7 News Night team, live across South Florida, with all the big local races.
So get ready, South Florida.
My team is fired up until the very end for Voice Your Choice 2016. And you are looking live at what Hillary Clinton hopes will be a victory celebration at the Javits Center in the heart of Midtown Manhattan. It is where Mrs. Clinton hopes to mark history as the first woman president.
Not so fast. Live pictures now from Trump headquarters, not too far away. The billionaire putting on an election night performance across the country that even some political experts say they are surprised about.
In South Florida, a live look at Miami-Dade County election headquarters in Doral, where tonight we've learned more people in Miami-Dade voted in this election than ever before.
Same story up the road in Broward County. A record turnout there as well. Our crew's live in Lauderhill, where workers are also counting ballots as that coveted Florida vote, so tight, still remains to be seen.
The big race tonight, the race for this place. A live picture at the White House. Come January 20, there will be a new occupant at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue and in the Oval Office.
As you can imagine, we are all over it on this massive election night. The Newsplex is in full election mode with the night team all over the place to bring you Voice Your Choice 2016. Hello and welcome, and what a night it is, everybody. I'm Balkis Nure.
I'm Craig Stevens. If you look at the bottom of your screen, you're going to see our vote check. It'll be up all night featuring the electoral and the popular vote. You'll also find results from other races scrolling across the bottom of the screen. So let's get right to it.
Patrick Frazier, he's the man with the numbers in the election center with the states that have already been called. Patrick.
Quite a few states have already been called right now, Belkis. Take a look at the map there. You'll be able to see most of the Midwest, the Southwest is red. The Northeast is where Hillary Clinton hopes to do well. Down in Florida, she wanted to win, but right now she's trailing in Florida. However, we can call another state for you right now. This one just came in, Montana. No surprise, 3 electoral votes for Donald Trump. Fill that in on the map. Donald Trump doing very well. Let's go to the Electoral College, the electoral vote. 140 to 104 over Hillary Clinton. And he's leading in Florida and North Carolina, 2 states Hillary Clinton really wanted to win, and if she had won one of those, it might have put her over the top. Now take a look at the popular vote. Donald Trump doing well there as well. 28 million. He's over a million over Hillary Clinton, 49 to 47%. In Florida, this was one of the big swing states, and Donald Trump now looks like he's going to win Florida. 97% of the precincts reporting. If you stick with us in the next few minutes, we might be able to call Florida for Donald Trump. Miami-Dade and Broward, Donald Trump didn't do very well here. 64 to 34% Hillary Clinton over Donald Trump. And in Broward County, it was even bigger, 67% to 31%. So you say, well, how did he lose, or how did she lose Florida? Well, because the rest of the state, aside from Palm Beach County, up through the I-4 corridor, turned heavily to Donald Trump. Northern Florida, the Panhandle, heavily for Donald Trump. So Donald Trump going to win the state of Florida, it appears, unless something dramatic happens.
You're watching continuing coverage of Voice Your Choice 2016.
And we have another big projection.
Big is the word. Patrick Frazier, what's the word from the election center?
You have to be careful for the state of Florida. It's now official. Donald Trump won the state of Florida in the 29 electoral votes. That's the 3rd highest number of electoral votes. California with 55, Texas with 38, and then Florida with 29, tied with New York. Donald Trump picks up all 29 electoral votes in Florida, Craig and Belkis.
All right, Patrick, that's a big one. That's the one that all the analysts said, without Florida, there's no White House. Now he's got Florida, so let's see how the night ends.
And
thanks, Patrick.
Given that he has been unexpectedly strong in a lot of these contests, the mood's got to be pretty upbeat at the watch party in New York's Midtown Manhattan. And Jeff Lennox is there. Jeff?
Yeah, Craig, Belkis are waiting patiently right now because so far Florida hasn't been called in this room. You just heard Patrick say that Florida is going to Donald Trump and those 29 electoral votes, but so far this room has not heard that news. So it's pretty calm here behind me right now. Might be a little bit of a delay, but here momentarily when that happens and that word crosses these boards here behind me, you are going to hear this crowd break out in a big applause for that breaking news just coming in a few moments ago. Again, that was the biggest number of electoral votes for battleground states across this country. 29 electoral votes that Patrick just mentioned that now go into Donald Trump's column and get him closer to that number, that golden number of 270 electoral votes. Again, throughout the start of this race in the early hours earlier today, Donald Trump was largely seen as the underdog going in. Hillary Clinton had a slight advantage in the polls in Florida in the final stages, in the final hours. But again, all of that is now history. And tonight, Donald Trump securing those 29 electoral votes.
Wonder if they know over at Hillary Clinton headquarters about this new Florida information. Let's check in with Robin Simmons, and she can fill us in on whether or not they've gotten the word there. Robin?
To read you something. They have not received the word here just yet, Belkis, and every time, you know, they're kind of flipping between different channels, watching the different broadcasts as they are watching these returns. They're not watching Fox News, but they're watching several other channels, and so far they have not heard the word on Florida. Fox News is making some other projections that I haven't heard Patrick make, so I'm going to hold off on that. But every time they hear some of these pundits talk about Donald Trump, they're yelling back at the screen. They're talking back to the screen. At one point, you could hear one of the pundits saying, "So, does Donald Trump have a path to the White House now that we've seen these wins?" And the audience started screaming, "No, no, no."
Let's talk about what's left on the table with our political analyst and rephrase the question, because the question up until now is, what path did Donald Trump have to win? Now, as you look at what's left in those big electoral prizes, and there aren't many of them, Brian, what path does she have left to prevail?
Yeah, so she has a very narrow path at this point. Essentially, she can't drop any of the states that she's been projected to win so far based on the polling. So she's got, I mean, she's won Virginia. That was important. She's got to keep Pennsylvania. She's got to win New Hampshire. She's got to win Michigan. She's got to win Wisconsin, Minnesota, Colorado, Nevada, and New Mexico if she wants to get past the 270.
Results rolling in. Candidates playing the waiting game. And the night team in for the long haul as Voice Your Choice 2016 continues.
Live pictures once again from Hillary Clinton's headquarters, where supporters are ready to shatter the glass ceiling tonight.
And a live look at Trump's watch party, the Hilton Midtown, awaiting the results of this tough and bitter election, and evidently increasing a close one, too, so we'll have to wait and see.
All sorts of other races out there. Another critical race that we were talking about earlier, Florida Senator Marco Rubio. It looks like he will serve another term.
That's right. And the night team's Brian Enton is there with the numbers and more from the winner. Brian.
Craig, the room is clearing out here now, but there was so much excitement earlier when Marco Rubio's supporters learned that he will keep his Senate seat. Let's go to video. Marco Rubio coming out on the stage a short time ago, celebrating his victory, telling supporters he called Congressman Patrick Murphy to congratulate him on a good campaign. He called it a tough campaign, emphasizing that America will be okay and move forward. He spoke about wanting to bring Floridians together after such a bitter and contentious election cycle.
While we can disagree on issues, we cannot share a country where people hate each other because of their political affiliations. We cannot move forward as a nation if we cannot have enlightened debates about tough issues.
Just a few moments ago, I had a chance to speak to Senator Rubio, congratulated him. No. Look, I had a chance to congratulate him and wish him luck and what he's going to do, because at the end of the day, it is an honor to serve the people of Florida in the United States Senate. And look, Senator Rubio and I obviously have our differences. You all saw the debates. Right? We have our differences, but at this point, it is important that we come together and do what's best for Florida.
In Marco Rubio's speech, he sort of joked and said this was much better than last time, obviously referring to when he suspended his presidential campaign. But the bottom line, this is a very good night for Marco Rubio supporters. Live in Miami, Brian Enton, 7 News 19.
Okay, Brian, thanks.
Another big race here, the race for Miami-Dade mayor that was on the ballot tonight, and the incumbent pulled out a big win.
Sure did, and here are the results from that race. Mayor Jimenez, the incumbent, a decisive victory, 56% to Raquel Regalado, the former school board member, her 44%. The team's Jessica Holly is at Jimenez headquarters. Jessica.
Miami-Dade Mayor Carlos Jimenez celebrating a big victory tonight. In fact, he's out in the crowd right now thanking all of his supporters on the floor here of the DoubleTree in West Miami-Dade. He came to the stage around 9:30 this evening, thanking God first, his family, and then his supporters. This is a big victory for him tonight. He says he's ready to get back to work.
It feels great to be reelected as the mayor of Miami-Dade County. We are creating one of the great cities in the world right now, right before your eyes. We are now creating that. It is up to us to create the base, the foundation of the greatness that will be the Miami-Dade County community. We will be known as one of the great cities of the United States by the end of this century. We already are becoming one of the great cities of the United States right now.
The mayor defeating school board member Raquel Regalado. She forced him into a runoff, but she could not force him out of office.
Today, I concede to Mayor Jimenez. I wish him the best in the next 4 years as he leads our county. I hope that when he looks back at this election, he considers some of the issues that were raised. I'm not going anywhere.
So in the end, Mayor Carlos Jimenez wins the mayor of Miami-Dade County for the next 4 years. We're live in West Miami-Dade. Jessica Holly, 7 News.
But right now it is looking like the Republicans are going to hold their majority in the United States Senate. Now, let's go ahead and start to look at some of these key races. And these were the ones that most pundits and experts were feeling like could make the difference in all of this. Marco Rubio, he won this earlier in the evening, 99% of the precincts reporting. We've heard from both of those candidates now, and now it is Marco Rubio who will be holding on to that seat. Now we've got the United States House, and right now we've got 126 seats for the Democrats, 184 for the Republicans. Every seat in the United States House, all 435 were up for grabs this particular election year. Very early on, many of the experts were calling this for the Republicans. It does appear now that the Republicans will be hanging on to the U.S. House of Representatives. So as of now, it does look like we are going to have a United States Congress that is Republican across the board. That's how it's looking right now. Now we'll just have to wait to see if the White House falls in line, and then we will see how all of that shakes up, especially when it comes to those all-important executive orders, Obamacare, whether or not that will be repealed or replaced, and of course now that United States Supreme Court justice vacancy yet to be filled. We will see how it shakes up later in the evening.
Now to some hotly contested congressional races and those constitutional amendments that you saw on the ballot.
Lynn Martinez has what you need to know. She's over at the news desk, bringing it back local. Right, Lynn?
A lot happening locally, and we're going to talk about one of the most watched races out there, and that was the race for Broward Sheriff. Let's start off with that. Let's go to Broward County there. Incumbent Sheriff Scott Israel keeping his job. He was going against Santiago Vasquez Jr. You know, Scott Israel was very popular. He's been sheriff for 4 years. In August, he won the Democratic primary with 65% of the vote. He was elected in 2012 for the first time after serving as police chief of North Bay Village. He had a few bumps in the road. He clashed with county officials on the subject of funding for his department, said the money was not enough. Vasquez Jr. is a former BSO sergeant. He was with BSO for 22 years. He said that Scott Israel couldn't relate to the department because he was never with BSO before becoming sheriff, but doesn't matter. Scott Israel wins that position again with 73% of the vote. On now to medical marijuana. This was a very popular, much talked about amendment, and it passed overwhelmingly. 2 years ago, this amendment nearly passed. It was up for a vote again, and it passed. Now, there was already medical marijuana, but this amendment expands it to 6 other conditions, actually for a total of 10, including AIDS, post-traumatic stress disorder, glaucoma, and Parkinson's disease. Supporters say it improves the quality of life for people in pain. Opponents said that it wasn't enough. Not enough research going on to prove the benefits in this medical treatment, but it wins overwhelmingly with 71% of the vote.
You're watching continuing coverage of Voice Your Choice 2016. 2 chances at history. Will a woman win the White House for the first time? Or will it be a business tycoon with no political experience?
But I'm reaching out to all Americans, Democrats, Republicans, and independents, because we need everybody to help make our country what it should be.
So when I started this campaign, I started it very strongly. It's called Make America Great Again. We're going to make America great.
Tonight, the numbers will tell the next chapter of American history. And the night team is all over it. We're live from campaign headquarters for both candidates in New York. And we're live across South Florida with the other races you need to know about. Comprehensive night team coverage of Voice Your Choice 2016 continues right now.
A live look at Hillary Clinton's watch party in New York City. At the stage there at the podium, that's the governor of New York City, Andrew Cuomo, perhaps firing up that crowd. The former senator is hoping to make history again tonight. So far, it's proven to be quite the challenge. Well, let's head back to Trump headquarters, and that is where we find the night team's Jeff Lennox to tell us what is happening there right now. Jeff?
And Belkis, Craig, I tell you, every time that Florida flashes over the election boards here behind me, the crowd gets very excited. They break out in applause. Happened a few moments ago. They think that later tonight, sometime very soon maybe, they are going to put those 29 electoral votes that come along with Florida into their column here on this election. Now you can see a large contingent of Donald Trump supporters and surrogates here behind me wearing those red Make America Great Again hats. They started this watch party around 6:30 tonight, and they are ready to watch this night go on with their candidate Donald Trump. Trump over at Trump Tower right now, watching those returns come in. And this picture just came in over Twitter just a few moments ago. It's a picture of Donald Trump, the GOP nominee, and his campaign manager, Kellyanne Conway, inside of Trump Tower. It reads, thumbs up right there, saying, real Donald Trump and I, ready to win. Again, that tweet just coming out a few moments ago from Donald Trump's campaign manager.
Well, in New York, it is exciting. It's palpable, the excitement there. And now we understand we're hearing from Hillary Clinton.
Crowd also just heard from the governor of New York, Robin Simmons, is in the middle of all that. Robin?
Yes, there is a watch party happening inside, and outside there is a block party. We're going to show you what's happening right now. This is Khizr Khan just wrapping up some comments. You may remember him from the Democratic National Convention. His son was an Army captain who was stationed in Iraq in 2004 when he was killed by a suicide bomber, and then Donald Trump's response to the family being Muslims. That created a firestorm in itself. So he is here speaking speaking to the crowd outside. And we are sort of hearing from Hillary Clinton, a tweet a little more than an hour ago that she put out. It's a picture of her hugging a young girl, and it says, "This team has so much to be proud of. Whatever happens tonight, thank you for everything." So obviously not taking anything for granted with this very tight race, and you really can feel the temperature of this crowd. They are nervous. They continue watching these returns come in, and as Jeff mentioned, states that Donald Trump needs to win are in his column right now. Ohio, the Buckeye state, is really a bellwether state when it comes to picking the president. I believe it's 28 of the last 30 contests Ohio has picked correctly. So a lot of nervousness in this room as they watch these results. They are hoping to get some good news from out west. In fact, earlier at this block party that's happening outside, Katy Perry was where Khizr Khan is standing right now, and she said, if you are watching this, and if you are out west and the polls have not closed where you are, go out and vote. So they are still, even at this hour, trying to continue to get their voters engaged, get them out to the polls if they haven't done so. You can sort of feel that the tension is ramping up as they watch these numbers and continue to see more wins in Donald Trump's column. So that is the story here for now. Reporting live at the Javits Center in New York City, Robin Simmons, 7 News.